spacing and spacer. We can use these two positioning properties along with basic layout views in SwiftUI to build responsive layouts. Our task in this video is to build the YouTube Shorts camera UI you see in this video. We are going to build this in SwiftUI by using spacing, spacer, and layout containers. Let's start with a blank canvas by creating the bar on the top, which is a rectangle. I'm going to remove the text. Here we are going to draw a rectangle. We give the rectangle a corner radius of 4. You can see it takes the entire width of the screen, but we can give it a proposed size. So we are going to give this rectangle a maximum width of 300 and maximum height of 8. Let's change the foreground color to gray by using the foreground color modifier. Next, I'll bring the image again. You can see the rectangle on the top, and these views are arranged vertically. So we are going to use the container vstack to arrange them. By command clicking the rectangle, we can embed in a vstack container. The first element to add after the rectangle is this close icon. We can add the icon using SF symbol. So let's bring the SF symbol application. Then we search for X mark. I'm going to select this one and press Shift, Command and C to copy the name of the symbol. Then we come back to the code. Over here, I'm going to add an image. For the string, we are going to paste the image name. So you can see the icon just below the rectangle. Let's look at the other elements. Next, we have another icon and text. So let's add that as well. You can see the first icon we added, the X mark, and these views, as well as these ones on the right, are arranged horizontally. So let's use a horizontal container. By command clicking the image, we can embed in vstack. For the one in the middle, you can see we have an icon and then a text. To get the same thing, we can use a label. So after the image, let's add a label. The first parameter of the label is the text we want to use. So let's put add music. The next parameter is the symbol we want to add. We are going to use an SF symbol. So we have to add the parameter system image. We are going to use an SF symbol. So I'll bring the SF symbol application. We need to use this music icon. By selecting it, we can press Shift, Command and C to copy the name. Then we come to the code and paste it here. You can now see we have the icon beside the text. Let's bring the image again and add the views on the right. You can see each one of them has a symbol and a text. And the text is just below the symbols. So over here, we can add an SF symbol. Let's copy this one and paste it here. To show the text below the image, we need to embed the views in vstack. We can embed in vstack. So below the image, let's put the text. By bringing the image again, you can see the first one is flip. So over here, I'm going to enter flip. And now you can see the close icon is just above the text flip. If I bring the image again, you can see these ones are also arranged vertically. So let's embed this vstack in another vstack. So let's select this one. We need 3 copies. So I'm going to paste 3 copies here. And now you can see we have 4 copies of those. What we have to do next is to change the text and the corresponding images. We have speed, timer, and filters. So I'm going to change this one to speed, and the next to timer, then the last one to filters. Now we have to change the icons as well. The second icon is a speedometer. So let's bring the SF symbol application and search for speedometer. I'm going to select it and press Shift, Command and C to copy the name. And that reflects on the interface. For the timer, we are going to use a clock icon. So let's select the desk clock and press Shift, Command and C to copy the name. Then over here, we can paste it. And for the last one, let's search for filters. And select the first one. Press Shift, Command and C to copy the name. Then we come back to the code and paste. The first icon still has the X mark. So let's change it by going to the SF symbol application and look for arrow. Let's use this one. If I bring the image again, you can see there is a space over here and another horizontal space here. We can use a spacer to push the content apart. So let's go to where we have the X mark. After the image, we are going to put a spacer. You can see it has pushed the content to the edges of the screen. Let's copy the spacer and also put another one here. And that places this one in the middle and the other two at the edges of the screen. Since the X mark and these views are very close to the edge, we can add pattern so that we get a small space at the edge of the screen. This is the container holding all the views. So let's go to where it ends. That ends over here. So let's bring the pattern modifier, and that pushes the content inward. So we now have some space at the edge of the screen. Let's also add some space between the content on the right. I'm going to select the vstack, holding all the content on the right. Let's add a spacing of 20. And that widens the vertical space. The horizontal rectangle is also close to the content below. So let's widen the space between the rectangle and the content below. We can go to the vstack, holding all the views, that is this one, and add spacing. We are going to put spacing of 30. And that increases the space. Let's bring the image again and go to the next. Over here, you can see the content is pushed to the top. So let's place a spacer below all the views so that it pushes them to the top. It is now left with the square rectangle over here and the 2 circles. First, we are going to draw a rectangle and give it a proposed size. So you can see our rectangle has a maximum width of 40 and maximum height of 40. Let's also define the foreground color of the rectangle. We are going to use a gray color. If I bring the image again, you can see the rectangle has border. So let's add that. We will give it a border of white color and a width of 2. Next, we are going to add corner radius, and that rounds the corners of the border. On the right side of the rectangle is also a circle. So let's embed this rectangle in a horizontal container, which is vstack. After the rectangle, we are going to draw a circle. For this circle, we are going to give it a proposed size of 80. What we have to do next is to remove the fill of the circle. We can do this by using the stroke modifier. The stroke can also take a parameter called line width. So let's change the line width to 5. And that increases the size of the border. By bringing the image again, you can see there is also a red circle on top of the bordered circle. So let's add that. We can do this in two ways, by using a vstack container or by using an overlay. Let's put an overlay here. For the overlay, you can specify any view. So we are going to use a circle. Let's give the circle a width of 65 and a height of 65. That is the maximum width and maximum height. We also want to change the color by using the foreground color modifier. So over here, I'm going to add it. Let's bring the image again and see what we have to do. You can see they are pushed to the left, but what we have done, they are just at the center of the screen. We can achieve the same thing by using a spacer. So between the rectangle and the circles, we are going to put a spacer. So let's copy this spacer. This is the rectangle, so we can put it over here. And that pushes them apart. With the spacer still copied to the clipboard, I'm going to place another one at the right side of the circle. That is what is seen in this image. There is a spacer on the right side. So after the circle, let's put another spacer. And that pushes the red circle to somewhere near the center. And with this, we have been able to create this simple interface using spacing and spacer and the basic layout containers in SwiftUI without using fixed positioning. For now, if we change the device to any device, you will see that the content is responsive to any device we change to. Let's change it to, for example, iPad Air 4th generation. We need to zoom out and resize the window. You can see it also displays very well on the iPad. Even by changing the orientation, the content is going to look very good. The orientation is only available in iOS 15. So what we have to do is to click on this to fix it. We need to add a fallback. So by clicking here, we can fix. And that is adaptive to both landscape and portrait views of the iPad. So that is how to use spacing and spacer to build responsive layouts in SwiftUI.